Hello and welcome to the Aragon Analytics channel. This video is going to be part of what I hope will become a series of videos on crappy knives and what makes them crappy, horrible knives you should never buy. Really haven't come up with a playlist yet. What you see in front of you is a Gil Hibben knife. Gil Hibben is a knife maker that was kind of brought into mainstream notoriety by designing, I think he designed the original Rambo knife for the First Blood movie. This knife here, I purchased this I think in the very early 90s, maybe 1990 or 91, somewhere in that area, and it's the Rambo 3. And I bought it at a flea market, I believe. And you can see that, you know, the blade stock is really thick. It's kind of like a modernized Bowie design. It's got a very robust looking guard. But if you'll take a look here, you'll see there's a small gap. And we'll get back to that in a minute. But, you know, clip point, heavy Bowie, really big knife, and try to bring up the, I don't know if that's coming up or not. Yeah, Hibben Designs. So back to the title of the video. What makes Gil Hibben knives such garbage, and why you should never ever buy one or trust one. Now, looking at this thing, it looks extremely sturdy and it's very heavy. And in a moment, I didn't have a, one day I did not have a machete on hand. I did have this and used this to clear some brush in the backyard. And I'm very lucky and fortunate that I wasn't injured, and here's why, and here's the reason for the title. As you can see, the pommel section here has a threaded pommel, and I noticed using the knife that it was coming somewhat loose. So I tried tightening it a couple times, and then I gave up. Thankfully, I gave up on using the knife for the day. So forgive me, this screw is being a bit stubborn. But if you unscrew this, you can now throw this at your opponent and end them rightly. Those of you who watch the videos that Scalagrim does on his channel will appreciate that. Here's your pommel. Actually, you'd throw this to end them rightly. Throw the pommel. Here's like a spacer. And here, folks, is the reason why you should never, ever, ever buy, or more importantly, ever use a piece of garbage Gil Hibben knife. This is a rat tail. Now, granted, it doesn't go all the way. There is a partial tang here. Partial. This is what is securing this little tack welded screw, is what is securing the knife together and holding everything in its place. So you can imagine what would happen if that were to break. Whee! Off this goes. flying into God knows what or God knows who. And it's all dependent on this weld and this rusty little screw's ability to hold the knife together. All the shock from using the knife, well, I don't know if this is showing up quite well enough. There's actually a crack in the steel right here. So that's already coming apart. And you know, prior to using it that one day that I didn't have access to a decent knife, you know, this basically sat in its sheath. I tried sharpening it. The steel's really garbage. It's difficult to sharpen. So, you know, it spent most of its time in this crappy sheath, and then it ended up, you know, sitting in my garage for years and years and years and years, until that one day, that one fateful day, that I tried to actually use it for something, and it totally failed me. And, you know, thankfully, no one was hurt. But folks, that is why you never, ever, ever want to use a Gil Hibben knife for anything other than hanging it on the wall or in a case or something. Other than that, they are total garbage. They are unsafe. I'd say, you know, the makers of shit like this should be freaking prosecuted, honestly. So that is why you never ever want to use a Gil Hibben knife for anything. Thanks for coming by to take a look at this piece of garbage, and I'll look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Take care.